This is a vegetable peeler. This is a carrot. This is a cutting board. I'm going to teach you how to use this without cutting yourself and ending up in the emergency room. Pay attention. This is a single-use tool. It's got two very sharp edges. You could really cut yourself. You could cut your knuckles. You could cut your fingers with it. Be careful. This is not a joke. Now, every now and then, you feel like eating something. You want to make yourself a soup. You want to make yourself a salad. You want to stop eating potato chips instead of snacking on something healthy. So, in those cases, what you need to have is some peeled and cut carrots in your refrigerator so you can just take it out and eat it without any interruptions. How do you do that? You use this to peel this, and then you use a knife to cut it. But first things first, you have to learn how to use a peeler properly. When you go to peel a vegetable, you want to do that away from your knuckles and your fingers. You want to go down this way, okay? What I'm going to show you is how to do that properly. Okay, here are the tools we're going to need. Obviously, we're going to need a peeler. We're going to need a knife for later. And you need a bunch of carrots. How do you peel a carrot? Let's take a look. The way this works is you hold the carrot up like this. We're going to peel the carrot by rotating the end until we finish peeling everything. And then we're going to turn it around, hold the other end away from the blade, and peel the part that we were holding. So it's a two-step process. Pay attention. This is how it's going to happen. Okay? You just want to take a very small, thin layer off the top of the carrot. And this will do that for you. Look, my hand is away. Okay? I don't want to peel my knuckles. I want to only touch the carrot. I'm going to go down, and this is what comes off of it. Just like peeling any other vegetable. You're taking a very, very thin layer off the top of the carrot. You don't have to rush it. And be careful not to go up here. You want to only touch the bottom part of the carrot that you're looking at, okay? And I keep rotating and getting down to the bottom of the carrot, okay? Once you're done peeling this part of the carrot, you turn it around, hold the top that you've already peeled. Again, peel down. Very simple process, okay? And don't rush it. Wherever you see some unpeeled part, just peel the skin, okay? Now, the carrot has two ends. These two ends, they're fine. It's just that they're not very pretty, so we cut them. This is a very sharp item. Be careful using a knife. This is a kitchen knife. It's not a butter knife. It should be very sharp so you can use it for this kind of a process. Now, we want to cut this end of the carrot, and we want to cut this end of the carrot very gently, like a saw. Okay? Now, question is, what am I going to do with this? Well, if you're cooking, you can chop this up and use it for your cooking. Maybe you're making a soup or some kind of a sauce or something. It needs carrots. Depending on the recipe, you have to chop it fine, large, rough chop, whatever it is. In this example, what we want is snack in the fridge. So what we're going to do is cut it in bite sizes, okay? So just cut it like about 1.5 inches, okay? Be careful not to chop your finger, okay? Okay, so now we have all these chopped carrots. This is a little too fat to eat, and you can chomp on it, not a big deal, but I prefer to chop these down a little bit more so that they're more manageable. You can also use them in dips. Okay, so now, this is a very sharp object. Be careful with your hand. Always away from your fingers. I'm going to hold this like this. Look, like this. Okay? And in a saw motion, go back and forth, forcing my way down to the end. So now I have two pieces. This is still a little bit too big. I'm going to put the flat side down and I'm going to cut this again, back and forth into more manageable sizes. Same thing with this one. Now, if I happen to have some kind of a dip, I can put this into the dip and eat it. Never double dip. Remember that. Never put this in your mouth and then put it back in the dip. It doesn't matter whether you're a guest at somebody's home or you're at your own home. Never double dip. Now, what are we going to do with the rest of these? Well, we're going to cut them exactly the same way. As small as you want them to be. Always put the vegetables down on the flat side so it's stable. Cut this. Cut this. Okay? So now we have a whole bunch of carrots. What do we do? You want to eat them, go ahead and eat them. If you're not going to eat them, store them in the container that you kept from the Chinese carryout that you had. Put it in the fridge, and when it's time for snacking, you can take this out and sit down and eat it. It's much healthier for you than eating a bag of Doritos. Okay? Thank you. Okay, extra credit. If you're cooking, sometimes you need carrots in your food. Okay? Depending on the recipe, that might require minced carrots, chopped carrots, or rough cut. Rough cut basically means something about this size. It's really not that difficult. We've already done this part. Chopping means pieces that are about, this big, maybe 1/4 inch thick. Okay? But mince means very small pieces. And the way you mince carrots is you essentially cut the carrot lengthwise, the carrot that we've already peeled and cut into small pieces. You cut them lengthwise, and then you chop them down so that you end up with very small cubes. Let me show you how that works. Be careful with this knife, okay? I don't want to end up in the emergency room. Pay attention. I've already peeled and cut the carrot. Okay? I'm going to put my hands here and with a saw motion, cut the carrot down into smaller pieces. Like this. So now you have essentially a very thin carrot piece. Same thing here. Okay? Do the same with all of them. Away from your hand, against your knuckle. Don't cut your fingers. Always away from your hands. Okay? So let's say we end up with this many pieces that I've already sliced up. Okay? These are small enough. Okay? So now, what do we do with all these guys? Line them up, right? Line them up like this. And then chop them into very small minced pieces. What you end up with is what looks like this. Always against the knuckle, guys. Always against the knuckle. Never cut your finger. Always against the knuckle. Using a saw motion, what you want to do is go back and forth, okay, like this, so that you end up with very small bits of carrot. Most recipes that require sofrito or some kind of a mirepoix, something that makes the sauce aromatic and gives it a flavor of carrot's sweetness, will require these things to be very small because you eventually end up either putting them through a strainer or they melt into your sauce. Okay? Notice I'm going against my knuckle. I'm not going like this. I'm going like this. Pay attention to these things. These are the details that save you from having to go to the ER. This is how you mince the carrots. So now you know how to peel a carrot. You know how to cut it to save it for eating. And now you have minced carrots. Rough chop. This is a rough chop. basically a very large piece of carrot. Okay?